All right, folks, welcome back to another episode of the Barn Session. I am here joined with our latest guest, Aeden Sinclair. He most recently made the U20 World Team, took third at NCAAs this past season for the Missouri Tigers, and just in general is a very interesting individual within the sport. And so I'm very excited to dig into some of these topics and go over some of these things. So, Aiden, how you doing, man?
Good. Excited to be
Yeah.
here. I love to talk. You asked my mom, my coaches. I probably talk a little too much, but this is a good opportunity for me to get all my words and thoughts out. So I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get into the most recent events for you.
Yeah.
You just went out to Ohio at the Spire Academy and made your first U20 World Team. Um, Talk to me about that experience, especially with your this is your third time having been in the finals, and what that's like for you, having gotten over that hump and now being on the world team.
Man, it was cool. I remember actually walking out of the venue after I had won, and I was with my nana poppy and my mom and dad. And I was walking out and I'm like, man, it just feels like it didn't feel good. Like I felt like I didn't feel anything. Like I felt like I was like, whatever about it. Because the past 2 years, I'd made the finals and I had lost in the third match. In the best two out of three, both times to good competitors. And I remember walking out feeling like, man, it just wasn't as satisfying as I thought it was going to be. But it was definitely a fun experience. Like I always have fun competing. I feel like I always say this, faith is a huge part of my life. And I feel like every time I go to compete, I get an opportunity to pray more, pray for good health, pray for my opponent's health, pray that weight cut goes well. Like just opportunity for me to get closer to God. And that's kind of any time I go to compete, that's how my mindset is. But for some reason, after the competition, I just felt like I was like, I don't know. I thought it would feel different because the last 2 years I hadn't got it. I remember my senior year, I graduated literally like the next day. We had to drive through the night after losing to bar. And I remember sitting in my graduation because all the graduation speeches are like coming out right now. And I remember sitting at my graduation being just pissed off, like not mad, like just like, oh my goodness, like I was so close. I shouldn't have done XYZ. You're playing the matches and because I had wrestled them like 12 hours before and now I'm sitting here about to graduate high school. And I just remember being salty about it then. I remember losing last summer and thinking, damn, like I just made the senior final or the US Open senior finals and I can't even win the U20 division. Like I was getting butthurt over that. But then I don't know, for some reason I realized how in a nice way, like saying it in a nice way, how insignificant the tournament really was. Like I left it and I just moved on with my life. And I feel like it's going to be a lot of the same things that I hope to achieve in my wrestling career. It's going to be like, wow, that's not what I thought it was going to be like, or for some reason I think it'd feel different. And so it was just kind of a reminder to me that it's not it's not about the result really. I mean, you can have whatever feelings you want tied to it, but it's more about just enjoying it. And so I got to enjoy it a lot. I got to see Ben too. That was cool because a year ago, literally at this tournament, we had found out that he was really sick, and I was like, damn, that's crazy. I don't know if I'll ever get to see him again. And so the first time I got to see him in person was that tournament, and then he was actually in town today, and I got to wrestle around with him a little bit today. So
Nice. Yeah, I want to dig into some of that because
yeah, of
I
course.
think it has been a very there has been a lot of storybook material around Ben and the last 380 days of his life. But I kind of want to sit in on that feeling that you're getting of like, I made the world team and this is something that I've been trying to do for so long. But it kind of, it didn't feel like I was on top of a mountain necessarily. Do you think, you're going to go out to, I think it's in Slovakia this year.
Yep.
Um, Say you go out there and you win a U20 world title. Do you feel like it's going to be more of the same, or do you feel like that might be more of like an achievement in grandeur?
Honestly, I would, for some reason, I feel like it's going to be the latter. Or sorry, the former. I think it's going to be the same. I feel like at least how I believe and train that it's an expectation that I win. I have that in my head that If I lose, it's like, dang, like that must have been an upset. That's how my mind is, because I feel like I prepare and I prepare and I prepare, and my goal is to win every single match I go out and compete in. I mean, this off season, I've lost 2 matches so far to Heat and Kyle Dake, and those are the caliber guys that I want to be better than those guys. I want to beat those guys in the next couple of years, and I feel like that's where I see myself. And so, for some reason, I sometimes I can get caught up in this. Oh, I'm supposed to do this, or I'm supposed to be beating these guys by this amount. This I should be teching all these guys, or I should be getting this amount of points, or whatever it is. And sometimes I feel like that can trap me a little bit, because you can underestimate, or you can wrestle a little. I don't know. Maybe people will tie a little bit more identity to it, and they'll kind of get more stressed out for it. But no, I just feel like the world championships are just going to be a really cool experience. I mean, that's honestly what I'm thinking. I mean, it'll be really cool and special to win. Me, last time I made a world team, I didn't play, so hopefully I can win this year. Team USA, it'd be cool to be part of Team USA winning it. For I think it's history if we win it 3 years in a row. So that would be a sweet deal, or however many years in a row we're at. But that's something I'm looking forward to for sure. But yeah, I feel like for personal glory or anything like that, I don't know. I'm just not so wrapped up in that. I'm more right, at least right now, I'm more concerned with developing my skills, but also helping out my teammates. So it's just opportunity to compete like any other. Just it's in another part of the world, which would be cool. I think Vienna is an hour away, so maybe I can do some sightseeing. I like history, so maybe they got some good history. I don't know much about Vienna history, so we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. You're looking forward to really just the experience, regardless of the outcome of the result, no
Yeah,
matter what happens actually on the mat. Being able to go through that world team experience,
of course.
being around those people, all those high level wrestlers, and in a country like Slovakia, and in a continent like Europe where there is a lot of history. That I mean, I understand that. I think that makes sense. And so you've in your past, you've had a lot of success. You won, I believe it was 3 state titles, correct?
Yes,
And
yeah.
so have you had things shifted for you in terms of achieving your goal, and how that feeling has been different from your expectation?
Yeah, hugely. I mean, I think in high school, I would have felt that I should have been treated. I mean, I kind of acted like this, and it wasn't good by any means. I felt like it actually like made it harder for me to improve sometimes. But I would have felt like my achievements warranted me being treated differently. My achievements warranted like different attitudes towards me, or that I'm seen at a certain level. And now I'm kind of realizing, like, in like a nice way, people really, at least the people I'm surrounded by here in Columbia, Missouri, outside of wrestling, like, people don't know. So I hate saying like the word like they don't care. Like, a lot of people innately care about other people, but they don't know what you're doing, and it doesn't have any bearing on their lives. And like, I was thinking about this today. I saw a thing about it was like a Lammy. He's a football player. I think he's from Spain or Portugal, and I was like, this was like world famous, and I just found out about him today. Like, people, what I'm trying to get at, like, the whole moral of what I'm trying to say is, like, go do whatever you want to do, because like, there's so many people. It's not a big deal. Like, it really isn't a big deal what you're doing. Whether, like, I was thinking about this year. Like, I got third at NCAAs. My goal is to win, but people aren't like, that's not your identity. Like, it'd be crazy. I think it's crazy when people ruminate on that, and I talk with a sports psychologist a lot, and we call it shooting yourself with the second arrow. Like, the first arrow of losing or not achieving is enough, but that second arrow of why, like, I'm not enough, or I'm not good enough, or these things that you tell yourself, like, it doesn't have. It's crazy that people do that. They're just like enslaved to their own suffering, and I just think that I don't even know how I got to this point, but basically, anytime whatever you do, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. You could be the best in the world at it, and you could be sitting next to someone in class who has no idea who you are. And so, who you are, like, character wise, and your ability to maintain and perform in relationships matters so much more than whatever whatever achievements you could ever do. I think that's the thing I'm getting at. You can have whatever trade you want, but what's your character? That's really the only thing that matters. So, and I think wrestling is a beautiful vehicle for developing character.
Yeah, I understand where like the framing, the mindset, that makes sense to me because I also think it helps people handle loss a lot more easily if
Yeah.
you aren't if you don't tie your identity and your relationship to the sport to the outcome of your matches. It makes things a lot more enjoyable.
Yes.
Um, so do you kind of feel like maybe yes, it makes it easier to handle those losses, but it also might make the that feeling of victory not feel as powerful or feel
Yeah.
as impactful.
Yeah, that's great. I think that's great. I think that's a great question. I think yes. There's that I would agree. I think there's probably truth to that if you care less about losing, you will care less about winning, or something along those lines. Just caring less about the sport and what you're doing, the activity you're doing, whatever. We'll use wrestling, but there is truth to that. But I also think like we this is such a funny. I feel like I read these like I was studying for the LSAT, and there's a section of it in the reading part that's about humanities, and there's always like this anthropology like thing where it's like the study of human behaviors and social sciences, and the thing that you're asking is like one of the topics that I feel like it could be about. But basically, what I'd say to that is you have to live in the world at some point. So let's say like I would say I lived in a really warped reality right now. Like I get to be surrounded by wrestling. I get a lot of my food taken care of for the majority of the time. I don't have to pay for anything school wise. There's this NIL thing. Like most of your expenses are taken care of. You're surrounded by people who also love what you're doing. You're doing it at a super high level, and you live in this world where you're like all based on this performance of your wrestling thing. But this is going to end. Like for the majority of people. There is. I mean, I won't deny there's like that top. It's like if you did a analysis, probably like 0.001% who continue on to do the Olympic thing, like a David Taylor or Kyle Dake, or some of these guys who continue on in the wrestling world, and maybe other guys branch off into UFC, whatever. But for the majority of the time, at least in the climate wrestling's in, people can't make money and they transition out of sport. And that's the truth for the majority of student athletes. And so you're going to have to deal with reality at some point. And if your whole identity was tied up in the winning and the losing, or the victory and the non-victory, or you have this like, I think a lot of people tell themselves like, I do this too. Like when I say a lot of people, I'm probably talking about myself at some point, and they get caught up in this, like, I'm this great competitor. I'm way different than these other people. Or like the common one is I was a student athlete. They were NARPs or whatever it is. But, you're going to have to work with those people in your careers and in your lives. And so isolating yourself, or feeding yourself these beliefs that you're this entirely different person than everyone else, and that they can never understand, is not going to make things easier for you, And so I feel like when you take whatever task you're doing and you make it smaller, you kind of understand the broader picture of, I could be doing anything. And so the fact that I could be doing anything means that if everyone could also be doing anything, we could probably bond on whatever we're doing. You know what I'm saying to
Yeah.
that regard? Like things are very similar in the essence, like at the core, like of what you're doing. You got to work hard. You got to ask good questions. You got to be humble. Like all this stuff is super translatable. And I feel like part of life is just connecting with other people. And so I would say I feel like I just got into way too many stuff, but what
No,
I'm
you're
getting at is, what I'm
yes.
getting at is like, you should, if you whatever you're doing up here and whatever everyone else is doing over here, it's just going to make that hard. It's going to make it hard for you to connect with people, because at the end of your life, and I talk about this, I'm a Christian. But at the end of your life, it's relationship and health. Those are kind of the two main things that are going to matter to you, at least for the majority of people. If you aren't Christian, for me, obviously, faith in Christ. But I noticed you have psychology and money behind you, and
I
that
do.
was and that was one of the main principles he talks about is like, um, the wealthy understand the value of like relationships and health, and that ultimately is what it is. Whatever you do really will never end up mattering. I always like to talk about the story Ben Askren tells me is every year you go to NCAAs and you see these 2-time, 3-time national champions walking around and no one's asking for their picture, but they're asking for the guy who got eighth in one of the brackets to take a picture with them and sign their stuff. And it's like, you got this legend over here who's like won 3 NCAA championships, probably has a world medal, maybe went to the Olympics, and people don't even know who he is. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Yeah.
whatever you're doing, it's probably, maybe it matters right now, but maybe in the future it's not going to matter that much. Who knows? So I think that would be my take on it. Would be like, yes, you could live in this reality where this winning is so big and losing is so bad, and I'm this top competitor, and it'll probably take you really far. But at some point, you're going to want to connect with other people, and it's going to be pretty challenging to do that if you isolate yourself into this like this other side.
Yeah, this very much backs up. I had a conversation with a guy who won a national title, I want to say about 15 years ago, and he said it stopped mattering, like having any impact in his life very quickly afterwards. Like both inside his like mental state and in the real world. And from my own personal experience, I live in Southern Alabama. Wrestling, as far as what people understand for the sport of wrestling down here, it's WWE in the ring, wearing tights, that type of stuff. So it like you're very spot on about this philosophy and the actual gravity behind the sport and the way people perceive it. It is the things that happen right now, right? The guys who take, are on the podium at NCAAs this year. They're the ones that are getting the attention versus the guys who are in the stands who are, for the real nerds, for guys like me, legends of the sport.
Yes.
Where did you start to sort of adopt this philosophy? Was it during your time with Ben and then continued at Missouri, or when did this start to become part of your sort of sports psychology repertoire?
Yeah, I think for me it was primarily I would definitely say as I got to Mizzou, but I think the whole thing was I was in high school, I made it to the top of the top. I was like, I want to say I won almost everything high school wise that year, and I was number 1 ranked in the country. And I remember like just feeling so lonely, not like my family. We have a really strong relationship. Like I didn't feel any like loneliness from them or anything like that. But I felt like isolated at school. I felt like when I would go to school, I'd want to be treated a certain way. Like, and for lack of a better term, I wanted people to be like asking me all these questions or like quote unquote worshiping me or like wondering why I was so good, and I wanted attention from it. And I never got that. And there was this disconnect. And then I started to resent them because I'm like, well, you don't understand who you're around right now. There's not many people who are like this. You don't, like, this was me back in high school. I obviously like, I don't think like this anymore, but I feel like this was like and I feel like sometimes back in high school, I try to like, hide it, but I feel like for the most part, this is how I was. I was like, why it wasn't, I wouldn't say I was like mean to people, but I wouldn't engage as much because I'd be like, why don't you get this? Like, why aren't you asking me? I figured it out. And you're sitting over there like talking about XYZ. Like I'm the best guy in the country right now. Like I couldn't make sense of it because there was this guy, maybe there's a guy who's going to play D3 basketball that everyone was obsessed with. And I'm like, what are we doing? This is so silly to me, And then, so I realized, I think for me, it was like, I was like, well, they'll never understand. I'm this, there's a reason there's only one champion at the end of the day. And everyone can't be the same. And I tell myself these things, and it just made it really hard for me to connect with people, and really, really hard to like live this like real life. I would say like a life with relationship and opportunity and enjoyment. And my whole life was wrapped around wrestling. And I say this in I loved wrestling. Like I loved my time at AWA. I loved going to AWA. I loved working out. I loved working hard. I actually think most men, for the majority of the time, enjoy doing hard things, like enjoy working hard. But I just always felt like there was something missing. And I think when I got to college, I kind of realized that, wow, like my identity was just wrapped up in what I did. And that was all I cared about. And at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. And I just think I adopted it through college. I think part of it too is you'd set goals and you fail those goals and you realize, wait, everything's okay. Like I'm going to continue to get to do what I love. And I'm going to keep working at these goals just because one of my goals was 4-time national champion. Just because I didn't achieve that doesn't mean that It doesn't mean that the world's going to end. It doesn't mean that the pursuit of it, three-time national champion, is any less worthy. So I think for me, it's just dealing with failure as well as trying to just build connections with other people and live a more enjoyable life. Not this like I don't even want to use the word warrior. I want to use like a word like I don't know, just self rugged individualism. Like I can do this all by myself, and I can't be surrounded by anyone because they will throw me off or something like that. But
That's
yeah,
is that like I don't know if there's the alpha male and the sigma male. I don't know if it's one of those type of
yeah,
personality types, but I
yeah,
understand. Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
yeah. I don't know the
Um,
difference. I think sigma is greater, maybe. I don't know Greek alphabet.
I think people, yeah, I
Order.
think people say sigma's like not alpha that everybody looks up to, but like this guy in the shadows. It's like he's the one
Oh,
pulling
okay,
the
okay,
strings or
okay.
something. I don't know. I really don't know. But so you're at Missouri, and
Yeah.
from what it sounds like things have changed for you in a lot of ways and for the better, and you're growing not only as a wrestler but as a person there.
Mhm.
And this is the same school that your club coach Ben Askren went to. Um, you know what went into your decision to be at Missouri? Um, was it sort of like I want to follow the path of my coach, or how did you find yourself at a program that in the last couple of years has not been on the radar the way that they've normally been? Now I think that'll look a little different this upcoming season, but I just
Yeah.
I want to get your read on this.
Yeah, no, that's great. I think for me, it was a lot of it was a mix of Ben, but also just the guys I had looked up to my whole life were coming to Mizzou. I always this is something Wisconsinites know really well, but that Wisconsin State tournament, man, it's great. It's great to compete in, but it's great to go to and watch. And before I'd gone to NCAAs, like that was like NCAAs for me. And so I grew up watching Keegan O'Toole win four state titles, Peyton Mako win. I think he won two state titles. And I grew up watching these guys and thinking, dang, like this is pretty sweet. These dudes are awesome. Like if I ever got the chance to be around them or just to get to wrestle with them or even win, I think at the time I was telling myself, if I ever got the chance to win one state title, that'd be pretty sick. And I never thought I would wrestle in college. I never thought I was going to be this guy in middle school. I won here and there. But I was not by any means like the best guy, and I would lose a lot. And when I'd lose, it was probably pretty ugly. I'd get like pinned or teched pretty quickly. So I just assumed that I wasn't going to be this guy, and for some reason, it ended up working out for me. And yeah, I think I looked up to those guys heavily. I think Ben talked so well about his time at Missouri, and I also looked up heavily to greatly, whatever word I want to use, to Ben. I looked up to what he had built and developed, and I always loved that he would always talk about how close they were to winning NCAAs, and it just kind of for me it felt like a project that not even a project, but something that could be passed along to me. And I wanted to do something special. I want to come here and help Coach Brian Smith win a national title. That's the goal. I feel like there's a number out there, maybe five or six might even be too high, but there's not that many teams that have won a national title in wrestling, and I wanted Missouri to be one of those teams that does that. And I really clicked with the coaches. I really enjoyed Coach Maple, Coach Dom. Grew up watching them too. I remember going to Carver 2017. I think I was double fisting Carver cones. I was a chunky kid, like sixth grade, and I have a picture of Spencer Lee from there when he after his first national title. And I was like his size, and I remember thinking like, man, I didn't realize how small these guys were on TV. They look so giant. But I remember watching Coach Maple at 61 kg and then Coach Tom, and I just think at the time when I was getting recruited, that was what I wanted. Like that was everything I wanted, and I wanted to be this guy that could help this program and be another national champion for Mizzou. And since being here, I love it. Mizzou athletics is fantastic. I've never really been anywhere else. I hear stuff from other programs, from other athletes and stuff, and I think I have it really well. Really, I have a really good thing going here. So I'm looking forward to the next couple years, and I'm really excited to see what if I can get done what Ben was trying to do. That's kind of one of my goals. Is I do believe we can be a team national championship. I think or win a team national title. I think it's funny when guys doubt that because every year at NCAA is like crazy stuff happens and I remember my freshman year when you and I almost beat Oklahoma State in the Big 12s. I'm like, why can't that be us? Like, we have the guys to do it. Like, we have really, really talented guys. There's no reason that it couldn't be us. I mean, uh, at the highest levels of the NCAAs, I mean, this. You probably talk with a bunch of the guys. It's like you're separated by really thin margins, and you never know what's going to happen on the day. And I'm even saying all this in the sense of like, oh, we need to get lucky. That's not even the case. Like we have just great dudes who can win. Like they can develop and win. I've seen it in high school. I've watched AWA kid. I watched a kid who walked in. I was like, this dude can't even do karaoke. Like he can't even like do the not the singing, but like the warm
Yeah,
up
yeah.
karaoke. And now he's in the state finals. Like, what is going on? How did he get so good in 2-3 years? And so I think I don't see why that can be any different in college. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to the next 3 years. It's crazy. I have more years, but it's also crazy that I've been here for 2 years. It's weird. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, and I totally understand where you're coming from because it starts to feel like the jump from high school to college is a big jump. I don't know if you went through the experience.
Oh yeah.
My my welcome to college wrestling experience was a Tuesday night 30-minute live go, and I spent about 29 minutes of it with my face being pressed into the mat. And so that jump, it's steep. There's a learning curve to it, but that doesn't mean that there can't be this development change, right? This velocity change behind people and what they achieve in at high school versus in college. Uh, and I think you're a pretty good example of this because from my personal perspective, you redshirted last year and you wrestled 197 for a lot of your matches.
Yep.
And then the assumption was that you would wrestle 184 this year as you did. And preseason, truth be told, you were not like a high up guy on my radar
Mhm.
because you had taken these losses that sort of like made me
Yeah.
question what was going on. Um, can you kind of talk through that redshirt
Yeah.
experience, the decision behind wrestling 197, and the learning curve that you went through there?
Yeah, I think I was wrestling 197 because we had a guy who we thought was going to come back in the middle of the year, and so I was just kind of because we had another guy, Colton Hawks at 84, and so we kind of just needed a guy to fill in the weight class until one of our other guys came back and finished out his career, but he was still injured, and so it didn't work out that way. So I was probably should have been in 84 the whole time, but I started out as 197. I was got the start in a couple of duels, and I was excited for that. And yeah, I think I just lost matches. I mean, I think if I can think back, I had 4 matches that I lost. I lost to Wyatt Volker, who's at heavyweight now, which is kind of crazy, and
Yeah.
uh, Andy Smith from Virginia Tech, and then Stephen Buchanan and Dustin Plott. And um, I remember the first one I lost was the Virginia Tech one, the Smith, and I remember thinking like, oh, how did I just lose that match? Like I felt like I was way better than the dude, and I just lost. I mean, I think I struggled to get out from bottom and gave up some takedowns, like some silly takedowns, and it made it hard for me to come back. And then the Volker match, I remember thinking he was just like so much stronger than me. He just like blast doubled through my face, and
Yeah.
I just lost that match. Uh, and um, and I remember like, man, I gotta fix my head position. That was like kind of something I developed in college. Was like I don't need to like run at guys with my arms like a zombie. I could probably like use my head to defend a little bit, right? And so
Mhm.
I worked on that a little bit. And then the Buchanan match, he was strong. He was good. 197, they were all strong. I remember feeling
Yeah.
a little bit weak, kind of like a little bit of a baby there. But I feel like if I wrestle 197 now, I mean, I wrestled Evan Bates almost every day in the room, and I did fine. So I feel like if I was to wrestle 197 now, I'd be fine. But yeah, for some reason, I last year I just lost. I mean, I think it sucks losing, but it's also like look how much better I've gotten. If you need any more evidence of like a program where you're actually going to develop and we're actually trying to actively improve your skills, look no further. Like I lost those 4 matches, and now this year or this past year I only lost to one guy, and I lost in like overtime. Yeah, both times. And so I think I think it's I don't know. I would agree. I think I'm a prime example of look what happens when you surround yourself with good coaching rather than trying to not calling anyone out, but trying to go get paid or trying to go wherever the highest bidder is gonna buy you. Like, you really want to sell your the thing that you love for this money that you're probably gonna make later in your life? Ooh, I can't say that for certain, and I don't know how much money kids are getting offered, but yeah, I don't know. I just think it's a silly trade off. It's like you're trading off something special, something like that you can really only do for 5 years, 4 years, for this number of money to build yourself a nest egg or whatever people want to say. And yeah, I don't know. I just think you should surround yourself with loving, good people who care about you, who care about your success, and they will. You're going to do special things. So,
Hmm. Yeah. So the culture at Missouri, you're saying nothing. You're singing praises for it,
of course,
and so I want to hear about your relationship with the coaching staff, the culture, and the team overall. You know what do you feel like is a big differentiator in what goes on at Missouri versus other programs? How are you guys able to sort of take these steps and put in this development, right? Because there are definitely programs that you can recognize that, like, they bring in good athletes, but they don't really go anywhere with it. So what makes Missouri this group, this culture, this team that's able to produce this way?
yeah, I think it's simply Tiger style. It's our core pillars that Coach Smith has. I don't know when he first developed it, but he's written a book on it now. But you have believe, compete, expect to win, and one more, and they're just our four core values. I think he's developed something that we can tangibly understand, why it matters, and understanding that it's more than just about individuals. I think another thing that maybe college wrestling does well, but specifically Mizzou or specifically we do, I think fantastic is no one's above the team. It's that simple. Like, you could be, I remember thinking about this, like, even if you came into a team in college and you were like a Gable Stevenson, where you like had won an Olympic gold medal, or you were this really great wrestler before you even had gotten to college, the team is still the team. Maybe they'll respect you differently in different regards, but if you come in thinking that you're above the team, you're going to find out pretty quickly that that's not how things work, you know? And so I think at Mizzou specifically, I think they just do a good job of um, making guys understand that the little things matter. Life beyond wrestling matters. The relationships and the values and the things that you stand for matter beyond wrestling, beyond athletics. I think Mizzou athletics as a whole does a great job, but specifically in our wrestling sector, I just think they get guys to understand that what you do, the little things, how you hold yourself, who you are, it matters. And so, one thing I heard one of our strength coaches say, but I bet you Coach Smith would agree, is like, if you're too big for a small job, you're probably too small for a big job. And I think that kind of sums up the program. Everyone should be taking up a servant leadership role, trying to figure out how they can best help their teammates. And in doing that, like, people are going to want to pour into you and help you out. And so I think Coach Smith does a really good job of just making sure everyone knows, hey, no one's above the team. We're all in this together, and we all have a common goal, and this is what we're trying to get to. So I think these next couple of years are going to look very just kind of continue to pull guys along with me. I think I've been learning a lot about leadership, which I could touch on later too if there's a question about that. But yeah, I think Mizzou. Why the reason Mizzou excels is that everyone understands that we're in this together.
Yeah. So I want to touch on one thing about that, because you said
Yeah,
no
go
one's
ahead.
above the team,
Yep.
but I think another crucial element to having a great room is nobody feels that they're below the team either.
Yes. Yeah, I would
Uh,
agree.
Especially like when it's in the postseason, and there's 8 or 10, however many guys you have qualified for NCAAs. Just because you have the rest of the team, the other 20 guys, they might not be going, they might not be competing that weekend, or even on a weekend where there's just a duel and there's no opens or anything. It's still imperative that everybody is firing on all cylinders as best as they can. Um, and this is something that Yanni Diakmahalis talked about a lot too
Oh
at
yeah.
Cornell. in terms of like a cultural adjustment is making sure everybody knows that they're a cog in the machine. Um, do you feel like that is very present at Missouri and everybody feels like they are a part of this push, even though they might not be the ones competing and directly representing the program?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think that's great. I think that's a great point you made. I think that's something we strive for sure. I mean, I know. I mean, I sit in on all the team meetings, like personal team meetings without the coaches, obviously, right? And that's something we talk about constantly. Is like, hey guys, you guys got to understand, like, your maybe your season's over, but like some of the other guys' seasons aren't over, and they need your help. Like, need help cutting weight, needing help coming to workouts, and you guys are just because at some point you're probably going to be in this role, and we need we're going to give you the same thing. You know, we're going to support you in the same way. And so it's like just helping out in this season, and when I say season, I mean like just frame of time, whether it's 2 weeks leading up to NCAAs or whatever it is. Just help us out now so we can help you out later. You know, and I think I think every team probably struggles with that. I think there's probably some guys who are like they finish their season in January and they're ready to have some fun, you know? And it's just it's part of being on a team is part of being a leader is just trying to get guys to the kind of the same point that you're at. But everyone's different. Everyone needs different support. They have different needs. They have different struggles. And I think like you said, like just connecting is honestly the biggest thing. Is like people will feel like they're left out if they don't feel like they have anyone that they can come to, you know. But I think we just do such a great job of including each other. We all hang out together. We all spend a lot of time with each other, and that I think it makes it really easy for guys to be like, yes, whatever you need, I'm there. Yes, whatever it is, yes, yes, yes. And so I think like you'll find this on some college teams, like guys are just there and they understand that some guys I feel like will like take up the role of I'm the guy, I'm like a glue guy, I'm this guy that like holds everyone together, I'm the guy that serves as much as I can. And I think that's great. I think it's great that they help and do whatever they can. But I also think too, like they know their own personal journey. Maybe they don't want to be the guy in the spotlight. Maybe they don't want to continue wrestling after college, but they understand that their value or what they perceive their value is helping, and they get satisfaction out of that. So I think like sometimes people can get real caught up in trying to change the way that these guys think. It's like some people are just different than others. Some people wrestle for different reasons. It took me forever to figure that out. Like I was like, why would you never want to try to win everything that you enter into? And or why aren't you motivated to do this? Or why don't you want to come wrestle? Like it's so fun. It just makes me happy. And I just realized that people win or people compete and wrestle for different reasons. I think a really good example of that too is I think someone's doing a big board comparison, or have you seen that in social media? Like they're
On Twitter, yeah, yeah.
yeah. And I think I hadn't someone had talked to me about it, but I remember going back in the flow rankings and looking at like what high schoolers had done, and I'm like some of the dudes on the big board you just never have heard of, and it's crazy because you think in high school you're like, oh, like we all probably are going to do good or whatever it is, but then they get to college, they're on their own, and whatever reason that they had wrestled for, whether it was for the attention that they got or maybe their parents pushed them into whatever it was, they just lost that because now you're an adult and now the choices are yours. And so I got into a lot of things there, but what I'm getting at is team dynamics. It's
right.
changed.
So you mentioned personal team meetings. So is this like you guys coming together and as just the wrestlers and sort of having like conversations about maybe these are some pain points or like these are some things you're noticing in the room or activities outside of the room that, you know, we need to be able to, you know, be that culture that promotes success. Is that kind of what you guys do? Like how often do you guys have these meetings? What is that like?
Yeah, we try to do them once a week. I think one thing I can talk specifics too. We're reading a book right now called Mind Gym. So we're all splitting off into groups. We're selecting our chapters, and then every week we all come together as a team, and then we'll split off so we'll come together and talk, and then we split off into groups of six, or it's not groups of six, it's six groups of five, right? Because we have 30 guys. And the whole reason that we do that is I feel like I was talking about earlier, like people struggle when they lack connection. It's all about connection. When you ask people to take steps of commitment, because okay, here we go. This is so fun. This is great. I'm actually getting excited. Okay, so broad spectrum. This is what I think. I don't know how true this is, but this is what I think. The more wrestling that you do, the better you will be at wrestling. That simple. Like the more time that you can have into wrestling, the better you will be at wrestling. The better system or the better map that you have, the more accurately you can identify weakness and the quicker that you can get at wrestling. But any time spent wrestling, you're probably not going to get worse at wrestling. For you to get worse at wrestling, it would take like a long time of really, really, really poor wrestling. But even then, like if you started at zero and you got a poor habit, but it allowed you to score points, like you're going to get better. So like the more time you can spend wrestling, the better you're going to get at wrestling. To spend more time at wrestling, you need to commit to wrestling more. So that means saying no to social stuff, saying no to sometimes it's like professional opportunities, sometimes it's academics, which I hate saying because you I do think for the majority of the time people can achieve what they want academically and also achieve what they want wrestling wise. I don't believe that you have to have bad grades to be a good wrestler or whatever it is. I do think you can balance two things. But one thing Coach Messenbrink always said was like you have three things in life: social, right? You can be social, athletics, and academics, or professional or career, or whatever, and you can only really be great at two of them. And I do kind of agree with that. Like if you're trying to balance all these plates, you're really going to struggle. So more commitment means more opportunity to wrestle. So you're going to go and wrestle more because you're more committed to it. But the only way you lead to a higher level commitment is to let the guys know that like they're valued and that they care and that it's enjoyable to do that. It's enjoyable to be more bought in. If it's not enjoyable, if they feel like they're loyalty is a two-way street. If they feel like they're putting in all like relationships, right? You think about like girlfriends and boyfriends. If someone's like putting in all this effort and the other person feels like they're not, or like this one person putting in all the effort and they're like you're not putting in any effort, there's going to be a disconnect. There's going to be frustration. There's going to be shutting down. There's going to be or probably a breakup, whatever it is. And so it's the same thing in a team. If people are pouring in but they feel like they're not getting anything out, it's going to really be a huge off-putting effect, and it's going to lead to just lower levels of commitment, lower levels to wrestling, and then ultimately a bad team. And so I think what we're trying to do is just connect as much as possible. Get guys. We're only as good. I mean, you've probably heard this in like Navy SEAL stuff, but you're only as good as your weakest link, right? And so, if that guy can feel connected and make more strides towards committing, that's going to motivate everyone else around him because it's like, well, I don't. Sometimes they think about race to the bottom, right? I don't want to be the worst. I can't be the worst guy on the team. I need to keep getting better. You know what I'm saying? And then there's guys that are like, I'm trying to be the best guy on the team. You got opposite ends of the spectrum, and so I think the whole premise of what I'm getting at is a lot of our team building stuff is just to keep developing relationship. You're going to experience hard things in college. I mean, it's 5 years of your life, some of the most like formative time in your life outside of high school. And there's probably going to be family deaths. There's probably going to be relationship struggles. There's probably going to be identity crises, whatever. And you're going to want these people to support you. And if you feel that, you feel like this wrestling community, this wrestling these people are the ones that love you the most, you're probably going to want to spend more time with them. And if you guys are doing that, you're probably going to want to wrestle more, right? Because that's like what brought you together. So the whole thing is develop community, show the guys that you love them, be vulnerable, help them understand, do hard things with them. That's another thing that builds connection. But there's no work around time. It just takes time. And so it's I'm entering into my third year. And I'm really excited for what the next 3 years can hold. I like to think my mindset is our team's gonna be like bamboo, right? Like no one sees a lot of growth, but like you're gonna see it in the next. You're gonna be like, whoa, top four finish, whoa, top two finish, whoa, they just won. It's like, well, I knew this was gonna happen 2 years ago, but everyone gets to see it today. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking, and that's kind of primarily where our team meetings are orientated at. But yeah, just a lot of community and connection.
Yeah. So you're, like you said, you're 2 years into this, and you've pretty clearly already taken on a leadership role in the activities that you guys do, in the culture that you try and uplift, and also a leadership role on the mat where you are achieving the things that guys on the team want to achieve. So even with 3 years left, as a freshman, you've taken on this leadership role. What has that been like for you? Has it been fulfilling? Has it been difficult to sort of guide people at times? Have you felt like you've needed, additional perspective, whether it's from your previous coaches or your current coaches? How how have you gone about that experience?
You're asking great questions. I like this. This is good. I literally
Yeah.
asked Ben today. I had a question about leadership, and um, it was all related to what exactly what we're kind of talking about right now. And yeah, I think being a leader can be freaking challenging sometimes.
Hmm.
Like, you're setting a standard, you're setting an expectation that you want people to uphold, and no one wants to. No one's going to believe in a hypocrite. You know, if you say one thing and do another, like that's not going to be convincing to a lot of different people. A lot of people. So I think as a leader, people, it's fun to talk about, and it's fun to be like, yeah, that's what I want. My, I remember my mom would always talk about like this was so funny. It was probably some Instagram quote or something she saw on Facebook or Pinterest, but she was always talking about like a lion like does what a lion needs like when things get
Hmm.
hard. You know what I'm talking about? Something along the lines
Yeah.
of something animalistic, whatever. But it holds true. Like everyone loves talking about how cool it would be and like being in this role and getting to be looked up to, but it's challenging, man. I struggle with it all the time. There's things that I watch my guys do that I'm like, man, it kind of seems like fun or enjoyable, or it's like you just want to relax sometimes, or just
Yeah.
like, but you're like, man, I probably should, I need to be an example. I need to tell them this, or I need to say this, or you don't want to be a buzzkill. You don't want to be whatever it is. And I think, sometimes it's hard because it's just all eyes are on you. You got 30 guys, 29 guys, whatever that is times two, 30, 60, 58. You got 58 eyes on you, and you're trying to just trying to do the best that you can. And you're human, you're going to make mistakes. And so, yeah, I think leadership is challenging, definitely super challenging because you are held to a really high standard and there's a lot of accountability that goes with that. But I like challenges. I enjoy doing challenging things. I want to be the best at my craft, which happens to be wrestling right now. And I think this is just another one of those opportunities to try to excel really highly at something. And I also think the skills that I'm learning and developing right now are skills that I'm probably going to use the rest of my life. I was thinking about that today. I was like, maybe I should. I was looking at a dining room table a little bit earlier today, and there's like a class on building your own dining room table that I could bring some guys with. And I'm like, man, that'd be a pretty cool skill. But then I was like, I probably forget how to do that in a couple of years. But the leadership stuff, I'll probably remember for probably keep the majority of my life. You know, I was looking at registering for some of my classes in the fall, and I was like, man, intermediate macroeconomics would probably be valuable. But then I was like, well, I probably won't remember half of this stuff, but I'll definitely remember how to connect with people and how to encourage and how to lead by example and all these values that kind of go beyond what you can physically, like academically learn personally. So that was kind of long winded, but yeah, leadership is definitely hard. And it's a great opportunity for you to develop some great and awesome skills. But yeah,
Yeah.
I do look to mentors all the time. I ask questions all the time. I feel like the majority of the time I suck at what I'm doing. So it's kind of a good mindset to be like, man, I'm pretty terrible at this. Let me ask some people who know what they're doing.
Yeah, it's very interesting listening to you because I have I've in pulled in a lot of wrestling media in my time, and Ben Askren is somebody who I've listened to a fair amount because he's got a very interesting mind. But listening to you break your thought process down, you do it in a very similar way, and so I think that's interesting, and it makes sense because you go to him for guidance, and he's played a prominent role in your life. And so I do want to talk about him a little bit, or talk
Yeah.
about your relationship with him. Uh, Having him there, his first tournament back, like from this near death experience, watching you make a world team. Uh, did that kind of add a little bit of extra? Was that kind of cool? Like it's awesome having him there to be able to witness this achievement. What was that like?
Man, it was so cool. My favorite part was just seeing him, like just getting to talk with him and talk with him about everything. And he loves talking about wrestling. My parents were excited to see him. My Nana and Poppy. My Nana was excited. She's like, he looks so great. I can't believe it. My Nana was a nurse for like 40 years. And she's like, I've never seen this. This is insane. And she was asking him all these questions. And, I think we were just excited. I mean, how I felt was I was just happy to see him, like happy to get to talk to him and see him in person. And he was trying to show some moves on me, wrestle with me a little bit, and it was just cool to just be around him. Like I maybe it was special for him. I can't speak for him, right? Maybe it was cool for him to see me make a world team, but for me, it was just I just loved seeing him. It was so great. It was feel like I never missed a beat. I feel like when he was here today, I was supposed to go in the wrestling room 10:30. I'm wearing my collared shirt, right? Because I thought it was a do some video stuff. 10:30, do the media stuff with him, and then wrestle and I wrestle with Keegan, and then I end up wrestling with Keegan, and then staying until like 2 o'clock. I was supposed to be out of there for lunch. I was like, I'm gonna get out probably by like 11:30, 11:45, and go get some lunch. And I hung out until like 2 o'clock because I just want to be around him. He's just um, how he is and his character. You just those people are really just I don't know. I don't know how to say, like moth to a flame. Like you just want to be around those people. There's just something special
Hmm.
about it, and that's who he is. And it's funny. I just can't get enough. I was like, oh man, I'm just gonna skip lunch today. So I had a PB&J like 30, 40, 50 minutes ago, something like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think for me, it was just I just got to see him and be around him again, and that was amazing. So
Yeah. Uh, so he's wrestling soon,
yeah,
which I don't know about you. I'm blown away by that.
yeah,
The fact that he's able to physically do that, basically a year after having gone through a very near death experience and having lost like 100 pounds or however much weight he lost, along with everything else. That's pretty crazy. He's doing it on his birthday. He's doing it up in your home state at Milwaukee. Um, is there a possibility that you're competing in that?
yeah, I think so. Yeah, definitely a possibility. They're trying to set up
Okay.
a match right now. I think he had told me about a name, but I'm not sure if anything's set in stone. I would love to get some more of those raft matches, and I like it. I feel like it's I do keep wrestling so much that I've been wrestling all these matches, so it's like they're
Hmm.
hard. It's struggling to find like new, exciting, quote unquote, exciting matches. But yeah, I think yeah, I would love to keep getting on those. Raf
Yeah.
sees this and be like, but keep testing me, keep giving me some stuff. I'd love it. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think you can expect me to be on the Milwaukee card if everything works out as it's supposed to. But you can't
Okay.
make any promises. You never know with promotion and
Hmm.
stuff what goes on. But I'm expected. I think I'm going to be on it. So
Okay.
I have it in my calendar that I'm there. So
Yeah.
usually that's a good sign.
Yeah. So this would be your second time wrestling RAF. What was the first time like for you?
Yeah, it'll be my third time.
Third.
Yes.
Oh, you wrestled. Oh yeah, you wrestled Zahid,
Yes.
and then before that, or was it after that you wrestled Saidulov or what or
Yeah.
Saikudinov?
Udanov. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I wrestled him first, and then I wrestled Zahid.
that's what it was.
Yes, it's definitely cool. It's different than it's way different than college wrestling. It's way different than like a Who's Number One event. It's like its own thing. I mean, I've never done a UFC event, so but I remember I was talking with Chael Sonnen and when he was there, and he said it was super similar. Like all the production stuff is very similar to what you'd expect at a UFC thing. And I was like, huh, interesting. I didn't realize that. I would have thought it was a little bit different, but they do a great job. I think people love it. People are loving it. The attendance is pretty crazy. It's cool seeing all the fans get involved. We do those fan fests where we sign before our matches, and we're there for a little bit. And I think it's just so cool to see all the people that get so fired up for the matches and they love wrestling. I think it's also cool that like wrestling is kind of like being joined hip to hip with this with MMA and kind of getting roped in with these MMA characters. But I think we're learning a lot from it. You know, I was actually just thinking about this the other day. Like for some reason, I feel like it's not that big of a deal to like not a big of a deal, but like to like playfully tease or like have some banter before any of the matches. Like the MMA guys do it to a really the nth degree, right? But I think wrestling could do it and it would work out. And I was picturing like in college, like walking out in the NCAA finals with a t-shirt cannon and just start shooting. Like you could bring some of that promotional stuff into college wrestling. Be like, yeah, yeah, wearing shirts and stuff. I feel like all the guys you see walk out, they're trying to be these stoic individuals. Like it's very much like chess grandmaster tournament. Here we go, and RAF and is just different. It's more promotional and it's more fan involved. I think my mom and dad, or a lot of people ask me RAF related stuff, and I always say like historically and traditionally wrestling is like a chess. It's a game of chess. Like there's a lot of respect, there's silence, there's stoicism, losing stinks, winning's awesome. Like, there's so much tension, but there's not really this trash talk element. And chess is very similar in that sense. Like, these players aren't trashing each other publicly in open forums all the time. And then there's like this big brawl, heated emotional brawl that happens. And wrestling, I feel like isn't like that, but MMA is different. I feel like MMA, there's this trash talk there, but I think it's definitely teaching wrestlers how to separate. At least I am. I'm learning how to, like, I can goof around and banter, and I probably will never be the dude that says like personal attacks, but I would definitely attack like your wrestling if there's certain things I think it's like, well, you never shoot any of your own shots, or like something like stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you could say stuff like that and it be playful and whatever, because wrestling's not that big of a deal, and you're about to go compete, and you'll just find out if whatever you're saying had validity or not. So I think wrestlers could. We're learning a lot. We're definitely learning a lot, and so I think it's really cool. It's definitely really cool for the sport. So I've learned a lot from RAF. I'm looking forward to do more RAF events. I'd love to get maybe some sort of personality going. I don't know what I'd be. Maybe that's I don't know. Who knows? Mr. America. That's Wyatt Hendrickson. So I'd have to figure out something else. The
Right.
accountant.
Yeah. You I think you're a good fit for real American freestyle in a lot of different ways. One, you're very, like, you don't fit the mold of like the Iowa style wrestler from the early 2000s where you're very stoic.
Yes.
You are very comfortable smiling and showing that you're having a good time and just expressing yourself.
Oh yeah.
Uh, but along with that, you wrestle a lot. Like, more, that is also very anti mold of what you see for wrestling post high school.
Mm.
The trend in college and at the senior level is you wrestle when you have to, and that's it, and everything else doesn't really matter. But you are very contrary to that. You'll go wrestle at U20s and the senior US Open, and you'll go wrestle a Real American Freestyle event a week after NCAAs, and you'll do all of these things. And I'm kind of wondering why. Like, that is one of the first things I noticed about you, is that, like, you will just compete as much as possible, even though that is contrary to the way people work in the sport. So why?
Yeah. No, that's great. I think competing is the only way you're gonna, not the only way, but it's a measuring stick. It lets you know where you're at. I think there's so many perspectives I have on competing, but that's one of them. So we'll throw this in a bucket. Measuring stick, there's counter arguments all the time. Like, you can do that with practice matches. You don't need to do it so frequently to get a good idea. Like, there's probably like an optimal amount of spacing, but whatever. There's a measuring stick. That's option one of the things that I love about it. The other thing I love about it is it's fun. It's meant to be fun. Like, people don't get that. Like, I think there's this air around competing that there should be all these nerves and tension, and are you what you said your training was, and like, it's my guy and my coaches and my systems versus yours and all this stuff. And I just think it's like, you did wrestling, you started wrestling because you enjoyed it, because it was fun. Some people don't have that relationship with competing at the start, but at some point you probably enjoyed it. You probably had fun competing. You probably had fun traveling with your friends. You probably had fun wrestling these matches. You probably had fun eating cool meals with whoever it is, or staying up late doing whatever it was after the tournament. Cool experiences. You have fun doing that stuff, and I grew up doing that. I grew up going to tournaments and having fun with my friends and having fun with my coaches, and it's a lot of the same stuff. I just love doing these trips because it's like I said, I just it's a really cool experience, and you get to meet really cool people, and you get to wrestle. It's something that you love to do. So you got measuring stick, so it's great for just developing your wrestling, right? But it's also just great for developing your like love for the sport. You just love it. It's fun. You get to do it. And then I would say, I just think for me, it's the other thing is just gratitude. Like, it's only you only get to do it a finite amount of time. I'm 20 years old. I recover really quickly. I could get 6 hours of sleep and be fine, for the most part. I don't do that. I try to optimize the best I can, but I could do that. There's guys, I know I have teammates who can eat junk all day. It's like people talk about like little kids, like stomachs, they can eat whatever they want and like not get sick. Whereas like as people get really old, they're like, I could never do that. I feel like I'm young, I can do this now. There's not that many opportunities to compete. It's really hard to find. I would say I'm one of the better guys in the sport, right? And in this sport in the sense of like I get more opportunities afforded to me, but like I'm like one of the top percentages that gets that. You have 100% of college wrestlers and international wrestlers, and I'm up here in this 3% right now where I get to compete in college wrestling, where I get to do these RAF events, and then I get to do the senior and age division circuit in the U.S. and then the World Championships. And I think for a lot of these people, a lot of those opportunities aren't afforded. They can't do the RAF stuff. They're too old to do any age division stuff. There's no U.S. Open for U23s. So they only get one tournament outside of the colleges, and they don't start. They don't start on their college team. There goes, I don't know, 20 matches sometimes. It depends on how many matches your college team wrestles. It's just like you got into this because you love it, and then you don't want to do what you love to do. Like go compete, go have fun, take a load off, just go relax. I feel like in the funniest way, like competing for me is like relaxing, and like I talked about right at the start, it's worship, it's prayer for me. Like I feel like I get to go compete, and I get to be like, man, God, I'm just surrender this outcome. I love what I'm doing. You've blessed me with this ability to be out here, be healthy. I hope you keep him healthy. Let's have some fun. Let's just have some fun. And so everyone knows too, like the week up to competing, the whole goal of the coaching staff is to make it fun. So we're playing spike ball, we're playing funny music. I'm listening to like the girly bop music, and you're just goofing around with your friends because that's what you have to do before you compete, because for 6 minutes, maybe it can be a little stressful, but I just think you're only doing that for 6 minutes. You're having fun, and stress can be fun. So yeah, that's my whole mindset is measuring stick, finite amount of time to do it, and it's just enjoyable. Like you make memories doing it. It's so
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, I think most people get into the sport because, or at least they didn't get into the sport just through enjoying wrestling practice all the time, right? They're not
Right.
people aren't in the sport to just get better at it all the time. They want to actually compete. That is the fun part of the sport, and so I totally agree with that. There's the angle of risk of injury. You seem to be able to kind of at least wrestle through if you deal with any injuries, wrestle through them,
Yeah.
or just kind of avoid them in general. Uh, so I think that's great. I think that's all awesome. Uh, you through this you've a very diverse group of people that you've wrestled in the college scene and on the senior level. You take third at the U.S. Open. You make a U20 World Team. You took third at NCAAs this year. Talk about your framing, your perspective of what this upcoming season is going to look like. You mentioned you only lost to one guy this last year. It was at the first event, the national duels, and then it was at NCAAs. Same guy in overtime. And you're like, from my perspective, the person who's gotten the closest to figuring out how somebody can take him down.
Right.
And you beat the guy who won your weight at national duels. You beat him, and he wins at NCAAs. What do you pull from the previous season and from your time wrestling on the senior level through all of that to sort of give yourself a guiding point or a frame to best set yourself up for success this upcoming season?
Yeah. I think if I could spitball right off the top of my head, spitballing, first thing was adjustments, right, from seasons. You got to finish your attacks, right? So working on finishing single legs, working on scoring those positions is like a technical adjustment, right, that we're constantly working on. That's got to be that's the reason I lost, this year in those two matches, because I couldn't finish those attacks. And so that's like kind of the broadband spectrum, but specifically in the context of these other people, I would just say that I now self-identify with I'm going to be I'm top 3 right now in the country, in the nation right now. Possibly it could be top 3 in the world. Like that's where my mindset is at, right? I'm roped into this group. I'm with the Kyles, Kyle Dakes and the Heath Valencias and the Parker Keck-Eisens. I'm up there. That's me. And I've seen all those guys beat them. It's just like, I'm the guy. I'm in that air. Like I can beat these dudes. It gives you that self-confidence. It's like, no, like I'm definitely supposed to be the guy that is beating these guys. I always tell this. Oh man, I could go on tangent after tangent after tangent. But I always say that go compete. One of the other reasons I tell guys to go compete is because even if you lose a match to like a really good guy, but it was a close match, now you're self-identifying. You realize, wait, that guy was not nearly as good as I thought he was, and that even gives you confidence. Or you win a match that you were never supposed to win. We had a guy not never supposed to win, but didn't think you could win. We had a guy from Mizzou beat Melvin Miller at the U20 U.S. Open, and it's done
Yeah.
huge things for his confidence. Huge
Hmm.
things. And if he would have never gone to the tournament or participated because he couldn't win or he didn't think he could win, he would have never gotten that identity growth, that growth of wait a minute, like I've done this and I can do it. I'm good at wrestling, you know. And so I think that's one thing that's going to carry me in. Is just that self identification of I'm meant to be one of these best guys. I'm going to be the best guy in the world. This guy's a 2-time national champion. This guy's a 3-time national champ or 4-time national champion. This other guy's a national champion. I'm gonna do it. You know why wouldn't it be this year? And then yeah, I just think just wrestling those better guys, you understand positions better. You understand that slow matches aren't anything to be afraid of. You understand that like these low scoring things aren't anything for you to get overly anxious about because you've been there, you've done it, you know how to stay poised. And I think that's just more practice doing all of those things, all those skills that are going to pay dividends when I get to NCAAs, but also when I achieve my goals beyond NCAAs, you know? So, yeah, I think wrestling this stuff, just there's so many benefits to it. Wrestling and with these senior guys has so many benefits to it. It allows people to, um, I think it has allowed me to jump levels, you know? I just the moral of the story is I just enjoy wrestling, and the longer I do it, and the more I get to do it, the more fun I feel like I have, and I feel like I'm constantly learning something new every day, and it's just so enjoyable. I've just been super blessed, and I'm looking forward to this next season. I'm more looking forward to it for myself. I want to be really dominant as always, but I'm more looking forward to. I want to see what my team can do.
Yeah.
I love those guys, and I think
Hmm.
something special, and I just want to see. Oh man, I love him so much. That's the thing. I'm so like wrapped up in them. Like, oh, I'm just looking forward to just watching some other guys achieve some stuff. You know, I think that's a beautiful thing. So
That's I mean that's a great sign from like if if I were like a blue blood Missouri fan, I would be like, okay, this we're in a really good spot. We got this guy on our team. He's leading them. He is the type of expression that you're putting out about how much it matters to you that your teammates are, you're pushing them to get to this success, or you're cheering for them this much, and that there is this type of culture on this team that has no where else to go but up. Like that's a very reassuring thing to hear. So that's awesome. I also totally agree with sometimes you just kind of need that. It doesn't have to be a win necessarily, but you kind of just need to prove to yourself, like, hey, I can wrestle these matches. I can win against these people, because sometimes you just got to remind yourself it's just another person. It's just another person. You guys are just wrestling for 6 minutes. Um, that's a great. It's so simple, but it's not necessarily the easiest thing to kind of wrap yourself around, and that's where the sports psychology and the mentality of being a winner, being a champion, sort of comes into play. Um, okay, I told you 45 minutes. We're over an hour. I don't want
it's
to keep
okay.
you for too long. Um, so I'm going to hit you with just a couple of lightning round questions
Let's do
that
it.
don't have to be too complicated,
Okay,
and we
okay,
can get you out of here.
okay.
Favorite warm up music?
Ooh, country. I love country music, blues country specifically, like Chris Stapleton when he was in. I think it was something brothers. I'm forget Thompson brothers, and then
Okay.
Steel Drivers. I like that stuff a lot.
Okay. Go to post weigh in food.
Fruit and honey, and then if I got to choose like some sweet potato and rice, so like that long sustaining carbs, but right after you want some watermelon and some honey.
Mm-hmm.
That's what gets you right.
Yeah, yeah. Favorite movie?
Someone asked me that today. It's just too hard to answer, but I feel like recently Obsession, and we could talk about that for a while. But Obsession is a great movie. So
Yeah.
I bought 8 tickets for all me and my. I watched it on a Saturday, bought 8 tickets on a Tuesday. It's like cheaper tickets, and all a
Hmm.
bunch of my teammates and I went and watched it. It was so fun. I was like, oh my gosh, what do you think of this and this and this?
Wow. Wow. Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. Actually, I would love to take my wife to go see it. It
Yes,
looks really
you
good.
got to.
One match that you wish you could run it back on.
Dustin Plot.
Okay.
Definitely Dustin Plot.
Okay.
The match I
Uh,
watched earlier.
and then if you could change one thing about the sport of wrestling, what would it be and why? Like it could be literally anything.
Oof. Um, I think, yeah, I think I would change the weird college stigma that you can't train at the weird stigma in college wrestling where you can't train at other colleges. I think a huge thing that made me better at AWA was that like I would go to other AWAs and other locations and train with the best guys. I wrestled Connor and Cole Marisol all the time, but they lived 2.5 hours away. It didn't matter. I feel like a lot of colleges isolate and like it's super taboo for one college wrestler to go to another RTC and train. Why? Why is that weird? Like you guys are, yeah, I get whatever secrets XYZ. Like who cares? Like you're trying to get better at wrestling. It didn't matter in high school, but it matters now that we're in college. But it's not going to matter later. Like I don't know. I would love to see more RTCs open up their rooms and do camps. This is goes along with it. I'm sorry. I know it's a lightning round, but I'm thundering it right
No,
now.
go ahead. Go ahead.
I would love to see. I would love to see college wrestlers go to camps like outside of senior national camps. Why don't RTCs hold camps? I feel like I'm humble enough to put aside my ego and go learn from some other colleges or go learn from some other RTC athletes that are willing to do camps. I would pay money to go. Like I'm telling you, like even if you wanted to just train with me, I don't think I'm too good for this stuff. I just want to be around some cool opportunities. I've always thought of that. Like, why don't we just bring in some of these top senior level guys to show some stuff? Wait, they're affiliated with a college, so we can't do that. It's like, no, why not? Like, who cares? I don't care. Like, let me go be around the best wrestling.
I've actually never heard that perspective before. Like I know about like it's if you're at if you're wrestling at Nebraska, you're not really ever going to be going to the Iowa RTC or the Hawkeye RTC or whatever. But you can before and after college, so that's fine. Yeah,
Right?
that is interesting.
Weird,
Yeah,
right?
it is interesting, and I've never heard that perspective. I wonder if other people share that same philosophy of like they would be interested in and open to doing that type of stuff. I do have one more.
Go ahead.
So you wrestled Dake at the U.S. Open and Zahida RAF, and they're
Yeah.
both going to wrestle each other at Final X.
Oh yeah.
Who do you have? Who do you have
I,
winning?
I think Zahid will win. I don't know what's been going on. I haven't watched Dake's earlier matches. Like I need to go back and watch some of his like college stuff, or maybe right as he entered the senior circuit. But he doesn't really attack like when he needs to. He's super defensive, and I think
Mm-hmm.
Zahid like is constantly attacking. Like they're very like polar opposite in that regard. I would say like Kyle Dake's defense is really really high level. He's got that amazing chest wrap, and Zahid's defense is I don't think is like anything spectacular, like not better than anyone. If you watch Parker versus Heed, Parker was able to get to his legs and they were kind of like easy finishes, It's just
Mm-hmm.
hard to get to his legs. But once you get there, it's kind of easy finish. So I just think Zahid has really high volume and that's just gonna work out for him. He pokes and prods a lot. He's quick and clean with his finishes. That's a big thing. Plays the edge really well, which is gonna be new, which is gonna be unique now with the new rules. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think Zahid will win that match. But I love both guys. Like both guys are cool, awesome. I follow Kyle Dake's Vitality Wellness Club on Instagram,
Yeah.
and I was learning about sleep stuff today. So he's always got some good advice in there for me.
He's very very non-conventional health and wellness standards. He does
Yes, yeah,
functional
yeah,
patterns. He's all into the wellness club that he's got established out in Penn State now. So yes, he's a very interesting individual, and I would highly recommend to go back and look at some of his earlier wrestling. It's not necessarily that it's changed a lot, but I do think he has reserved himself a little bit more to be more on the defensive side. But he definitely would, like he talked about in college, how his he did not like letting his opponent score points no matter what. So he would ride people out for 2 minutes and not score a turn and return them 500 times because he did not want to give up a point.
yeah.
So like sometimes his matches would be low scoring because of that philosophy, but he definitely is a little bit his age might be showing, but he's also
That's
getting
what,
younger.
yeah.
So I don't really know. I don't know.
That's
Aiden,
what Chris said. Yeah.
this has been great. I've got there are some other subjects that I would love to dig into, but maybe we'll have you come back later, because I want to talk about you've put some interesting things out there about your relationship with wrestling and that comparison to the greater scope of life, and you've kind of mentioned it here and there during this conversation. But I want to, it's an hour and 15 minutes into this, so we can pause now and maybe come back to it at a later date. So this has been great. If you have anything that you're doing this summer or anything that you want to plug, feel free.
Yeah. Hey, if you guys go to any camps, I'm doing like basically a whole week's worth of camps. So there's one in KC, or one in Springfield, 25th of June. We got our Missouri team camp. Got to go to that. Idaho, shout out Caldwell camps. If you guys go to that one, and then I'm coming up. I'm going to do one in Aberdeen, South Dakota. So that's like I want to say the 29th of June. That date might be wrong. Something around there. So check out that stuff, guys, and compete as much as you can. But yeah, come to the camps. I love seeing
Absolutely.
wrestlers. So
Yeah. Awesome. Well, folks, thank you for listening. This has been a treat for me. I hope you've enjoyed it. Yeah, and we'll see you next time. Have a good one.